Right, hello there guys, it's Kid Bomber here and welcome back to my channel. I'm so appreciate you who came to join me on this funny video. So, I'll be doing a read aloud video for you guys. We are on almost the end of November, but we're getting towards winter. Some of you are excited for wonderful Christmas season of the year. Okay, I'll be reading. I will have a go with reading is Disney Pixar The Incredibles. I love this movie so much. It's such a good film. Shall we have a go with reading this book? And as some of you have done reading all Disney books from my previous videos, this is Disney's wonderful reading. Okay, let's begin with you guys, and I hope you enjoy this video. Feel free to wear your headphones. This is highly recommend. Okay. Hope you enjoy it, and let's begin. Not so long ago, a small but elite small group of heroes used their special powers to stop fairness plots and protect innocent citizens from harm. There were the supers. Among them were Frozone, Gazer Beam, and Elastigirl. But one of the supers stood out from the rest. His name was Mr. Incredible. He was the best known, most popular hero in the city, and he always insisted on working alone. One day, Buddy, Mr. Incredible's #1 fan, showed up at the bank robbery wearing a pair of rocket boots to help him fly. Mr. Incredible said, "Fly home, Buddy. I'll work alone." But Buddy didn't listen. Mr. Incredible managed to save Buddy from a bomb. But the bank robbers escaped. Some train tracks were destroyed, and a few people were hurt. It was after that day the supers' lives changed forever. People started to think supers did more harm than good. The government decided that supers, should no longer be allowed to use their powers. So, Mr. Incredible and his new bride, Elastigirl, became known as Bob and Helen Parr to the rest of the world. Years passed, and the Parrs had 3 children. They tried to live as an ordinary family. But they 2 eldest children, Violet and Dash, had their superpowers. Only baby Jack seemed normal. Like their parents, the kids weren't allowed to use their powers in public. Home was different. Dash used his super speed to annoy Vi, who would become invisible and fight back with force fields. Their parents had to use their superpowers to break up the fights. Ordinary life was hard for everyone, especially Bob. Bob missed being a super, so he and his friend Lucius began to fight crime and help people in secret. One night, as the 2 friends were rescuing people from a burning building, someone was watching them. A mysterious woman named Mirage followed Bob and Lucius and then told her boss about them. Mr. Incredible was just the person Mirage and her boss had been looking for. The next day, Bob was fired from his normal job after the particularly rough day with his boss. When Bob came home, he found a small computer in his briefcase. The screen lighted up. "Hello, Mr. Incredible," Mirage said. I represent a top secret division of the government. and we have need of your unique abilities. She said they needed Bob's help to stop an out-of-control experimental robot. Mirage offered to pay him 3 times more than his current normal job paid. The supers aren't gone. Mr. Incredible, you are still here. She finished, then her message self-destruct. Bob accepted this secret hero mission. He decided not to tell his family he had been fired again. Instead, he told them he was going on a business trip. Within hours, Mr. Incredible was aboard a fancy jet heading for the island of Nocean. He listened carefully as Mirage described the mission. The Emily Droid 9000 is a top-secret battle prototype robot. She explained, "We lost control and now it's loose in the jungle, threatening our facility." She warned him that robot would quickly learn his moves. But because it was a learning robot, the hero was to defeat the expensive invention without destroying it. Shut it down, do it quickly, don't destroy it. Mr. Incredible summed it up. He was finally going to be a superhero, a real super again. Of course. It had been a long time since Mr. Incredible had battled an out-of-control robot. It didn't help that he was not in super shape. Wham! Bam! Still, as Mirage and her boss watched on a video screen from their headquarters, Mr. Incredible was eventually able to trick the robots and shut it down. Mr. Incredible was thrilled. He felt like a new man. Back at home, he had a new routine each day. He pretended to go to work, but instead, Mr. Incredible exercised. Soon, he was as fit and as strong as his old super self. And he even had a new super suit made by Ed Mode, a former designer for supers. When Mirage called again, Mr. Incredible was ready for another secret mission. Following her instructions, he flew back to the island of Normazian. Little did he know he was headed for a big trouble. Once again, he battled an Omni droid, but this Omni droid was much faster and stronger and smarter. It anticipated all of Mr. Incredible's moves. The Omni droid caught Mr. Incredible. Suddenly, Mr. Incredible heard a wild laugh. It's bigger, it's badder, it's funny ready, yelled a wild-haired man who jetted down to face a captured super. "Buddy?" asked Mr. Incredible. "My name is not Buddy, and it's not Incredible either," shrieked a bitter grow-up. "Buddy, all I wanted to do was help you, but I learned important lesson. You can't count on anyone. Now, I have a weapon that I could defeat," he added, laughing evilly. "I'm Syndrome." Syndrome tossed Mr. Incredible over the cliff and landed in the river below. Then, Syndrome tossed a bomb into the water to get rid of the super for good. But Mr. Incredible found safety in a underwater cave. Inside the cave, he discovered a skeleton of his unlucky super friend, Gazerbeam. Lucky for Mr. Incredible, though, the skeleton not only offered a place to hide and trick Syndrome's probe, but Gazerbeam had also carved the word Kronos into the cave wall before he died. Mr. Incredible escaped from a cave and then found his way to Syndrome's headquarters and main computer. When Mr. Incredible typed in Kronos, Syndrome's plans appeared. There was a long list of supers, and most of them were listed as terminated. It quickly became clear that Syndrome had been killing off supers by using them to train his Omnidroid. Now that the evil robot was perfected, Syndrome was going to launch it on the city. Suddenly, Mr. Incredible's suit started beeping. Mr. Incredible didn't know why, but he didn't know it was time to run from Syndrome's guards. However, Mr. Incredible never had a chance, as a bunch of sticky blobs surrounded and captured him. The beeping was a homing device that had been sewn into Mr. Incredible's supersuit. Helen had activated it when she met with Edna Mode, who had also made super suits for the rest of her Parr family. Helen decided to go and find Bob. Unfortunately, when Helen tried to tell Vi to take care of her brothers when she was gone, Dash find the kids new super suits. He raced around in his super speedy suit, and Vi learned that her suit turned invincible when she did. "Hey, both of you, knock it off," Helen cried. Soon Elastigirl had everything under control and was aboard a jet on the way to Nonasian. But as the jet neared the island, Elastigirl discovered Violet and Dash on board. They quickly blamed each other for stowing away. "You left Jack alone?" Elastigirl cried. "Of course, we got the sitter." "Do you think I'm really totally irresistible?" Irresponsible? Asked Vi. Elastigirl phoned the sitter, but the call was cut short. The jet was under attack. After watching from a headquarters, Mirage announced target was destroyed. Mr. Incredible knew his family was on the jet. Was devastated. Syndrome snared. "You get over it. I seem to recall that you prefer to work alone." But Syndrome had underestimated Elastigirl. She had made herself into the parachute and landed with her children safely in the ocean. Then Elastigirl had shaped herself into a boat. Using Dash's super fast leg as a motor, the super family raced towards the island to rescue Mr. Incredible. They then made to shore. Elastigirl found a cave where Vi and Dash could hide. Elastigirl handed the children masks and said, "Put these on. If everyone goes wrong, use your powers." Then Elastigirl left to break into Syndrome's headquarters and rescue her husband. Soon after, Vi and Dash were forced out of the cave by the giant fireball. it turned out to be a rocket exhaust from a Syndrome's base. Dash and Fi watched as the Omni droid rockets into the night sky and headed towards the city. The next morning, Dash spotted what he thought was a talking bird. It was one of the Syndrome's security alerts. Suddenly, Fi and Dash were surrounded by guards. Remember what Mum said? Fi whispered. Run. Fi turned invincible and Dash ran. They used their powers well. Meanwhile, Elastigirl found Mr. Incredible with Mirage and gave her a swift punch. He tried to explain that Mirage had switched sides and was helping him to escape, but there was no time. Mirage announced that guards had been sent after Fi and Dash. Quickly, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl raced to rescue their children. Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl reached the jungle. Suddenly, a big red force field rolled through the trees with Violet and Dash inside. Mom? Dad? Yelled Violet. Their reunion was cut short as Syndra's guard surrounded them. Working together, the Incredibles made an incredible team, but they were on Syndrome's turf. Soon, the villain caught them in his armor B way. Back at his headquarters, Syndrome told the captive family his plans. He had already sent the army droid to the city. The robot will emerge dramatically, do some damage, and just when all hopes is lost, Syndrome will save the day. I'll be a bigger hero than you ever were. Then Syndrome left to save the city, leaving Incredibles behind. Meanwhile, the Omni droid was already whipping through the city. The people were terrified, just when it looked as if no one could stop the gigantic robot. Syndrome arrived to save the day. Stand back, he shouted. He secretly used his remote control, and Omnidroid's arm fell off. The crowd went wild, cheering for the Syndrome. His plan was working. Syndrome looks like a hero, but Syndrome had made a huge mistake. Because the robot was a lone robot, it quickly learned that remote control was controlling it. The Omni droid blasted the remote from Syndrome's wrist, locking him out. Now the robot was truly out of control. But Vi had used her powers to free her family. And now the Incredibles were racing back to the city on one of Syndrome's rockets. When they arrived, Mr. Incredible told his family he was going after the Omni droid alone. At first, Elastigirl was upset, but then Bob blurted out, I can't lose you again. I'm not strong enough. Surprised and touched by her husband's feelings, Elastigirl replied gently, If we work together, you won't have to be. So the Incredible family combined their powers once again. With help from their friend Frozone, they were able to trick the Omni droid. Mr. Incredible grabbed one of his detached arms, pointed at the robot. Elastigirl pushed the correct button on the remote, and an arm rocket into the robot. The army droid fell over and exploded. The supers had won. They had destroyed Omni droid. The crowd cheered, but the Incredibles family problems weren't over. Syndrome wanted revenge. When the paths arrived home, they found Syndrome kidnapping Jack. The Incredible family sprang into action as Syndrome blasted up to his jet. Yeah. Away. Unfortunately, it turned out that Jack had powers. He turned into a monster, frightened Syndrome, dropped the baby in midair. Mr. Incredible threw Elastigirl, who quickly caught Jack. Then she turned herself into a parachute, and mother and son floated down. Syndrome wasn't so lucky. His cape got tangled in a jet turbine, causing a plane to explode. The Incredibles had seen Syndrome for the last time, but it was not a last time. The Incredibles won't face danger from now on. They wouldn't have to hide their powers, at least not all the time. They really were a super family. The end. So, I hope you enjoyed listening to me when I read to you. I hope you found it interesting. And please feel free to write your comments down below and give thumbs up. That would really appreciate you guys. And just remember, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit this bell notification. And you can also check out my social media to support my exclusive contents and behind the scenes and sneak peeks. You can check out through Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest and TikTok. If you're interested, that'll be a really good support also. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and some of you who's looking forward to Christmas next month. I can't believe this year's gone so quickly, but it's crazy. Yep. Okay, so please stay tuned for the next videos, and I hope you see you soon.